Hello, welcome to Talk a Good Game, and it's the match preview for West Ham United taking on Bournemouth live on Monday night. A bit of a different one for us. Anyway, Gonzo, kick us off, please. As always, your thoughts on our opponents.
Newly taken over, Geo, actually, and it was really the first takeover, the takeover that saw Bournemouth charge their way up the divisions under Eddie Howe. I think everybody thought that was going to be one that's well, it did steady the ship, but was to remain in place for quite some time. In many respects, what they've done is absolutely remarkable to get to where they have. They've got new ownership, American ownership, which is slightly worrying from my own point of view, for reasons we'll go on to on a different day. But I think we're sort of might get towards those 14 American owners, and then you might see the shape of the Premier League changing quite drastically. But as I say, a video for another day. I love Bournemouth, probably my second favourite team, and I'll tell you why. I've been regular watchers of this channel. When I was 13, I moved from Ilford, and we moved to Boscombe, which is basically it's in Bournemouth. So I used to all my friends in my new school were all Bournemouth fans. It was 10 minutes away from the ground. So I got used to get dragged along to Bournemouth. Nice club, really lovely club. Harry Redknapp was in charge, actually. Ian Bishop played in midfield. So, there's a lot to love about Bournemouth. I really like that club. I think what they're doing now is fantastic. Back up in the top flight, of course, again. I thought got rid of Scott Parker, didn't they? And I thought that was maybe a little bit harsh. I understand they'd taken a bit of a tonking. That being said, O'Neill's come in. I know they didn't do so well in the last game, but that's a big game, right? It was Southampton the last game, wasn't it? That's a big game down there. Having lived down there, it's a big game for Bournemouth. Southampton's sort of a bit more focused on Portsmouth, but it is a big game. So I think that game being a derby, a local derby, South Coast derby, can swing either way. But O'Neill's done very, very well indeed, and I just wonder if the new owner might be changing his mind, because there's no way when somebody buys into a football club and pays big money for it that they think, I'm going to go in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get me a caretaker manager, and I'm going to make him permanent. But he's given him food for thought. He's given him something to think about, and he's given definitely a bounce and a spring back to the not just the team. And I guess you could say this for every area, but I know about this area. Locally, when that club's doing well, it gives everyone a bounce, particularly this time of year, because there's nobody there this time of year because none of the tourists are there. It really gives the town something to get their teeth into. So yeah, got a lot of respect for Bournemouth.
Do you think O'Neill should be given a job on a permanent basis?
I always get this wrong, and I think instinctively you're sort of supposed to, but I've seen it go wrong so many times. I guess the biggest recent example is Solskjaer. A different caliber of player in that sense, and certainly a massive difference in the size of the club. But I think what I'd do is I would almost extend his probationary period. And some people would say that might put extra pressure on him. Well, if he can't survive under pressure, he's not going to make it as a Premier League manager anyway. So I would sort of discount that as an argument. I'd want to look a little bit more and just make sure. I think it's really important when you have these people get put in place that you get past the new manager bounce, which is I can't imagine for a moment people are fed up under Parker. He's a really good guy, but once that dissipates and once that new feeling of hey, we've got a new gaffer and everything's fresh and training's fresh and all the rest of it, once that goes, can he still do it? And I think I'll just wait. I wouldn't force myself into making a decision now. I think it's going okay. Bournemouth are way higher in the division than I think A, they should be, or B, they thought they would be. So I'd give it a little bit more time.
Yeah, I think it's this game's crunch time for O'Neill, really, because he's now suffered his first defeat as caretaker manager. How are you going to bounce back? Let's see if you can back. He gets beat again on Monday by us. That's when he might sort of think, oh, okay, glad we never gave him a contract. Let's give him another week and see. And if it's sort of 3 losses in a row, you might soon see them thinking, right, we need to get somebody in. Because I think on Wednesday, when they got beat by Southampton, you saw he was a caretaker manager. They started with like wing backs. And in the first half, they had about 4 different formations just in the first half alone. He kept switching things. Fredericks was right wing back, then he was left wing back, or the other way about. He ended up, Lamberson was playing well midfield, put him sweeper. He just kept moving things around. In the second half, Bournemouth had a bit of momentum against Southampton. He changed the team around and it just killed all momentum. And I think that's the first game you could really sense that they had an inexperienced manager in the dugout. However, Solanke, a big player for Bournemouth, come out and publicly backed him and said, I hope he gets a job. I understand why Solanke would say that, though, because A, he's playing every week, and B, he's scored a few goals under O'Neill, so you can understand why Solanke would prefer O'Neill stays in charge. I guess the difference is, and this goes against O'Neill, is that compared to Solskjaer, is at least Ollie had managerial experience, granted, not a great one with Cardiff City, however. Over in Norway, he had done well over there, whereas O'Neill's got none. I think he was in charge. I could be wrong about this, and I'm sure a Bournemouth fan will correct me. I'm sure he was in charge of like the under 12s or something at Bournemouth when he then got promoted. I could be wrong about that, though. I think he was sort of in charge of like a real youth team, and then he became the manager. But he's done really well. Been very impressed by the turnaround, because they went from getting a hiding every week, and it was almost like a guaranteed 3 points when you played Bournemouth, to becoming a team that's hard to beat, hard to break down, and they're actually posing a bit of a threat and scoring goals. As for Scott Parker, I understand why they sacked him, and I don't think it was because of the results. I think had Parker fell in line with the club policy, I think he might have got longer. They might have backed him and said, listen, we'll get relegated this season, not ideal, but you're going to get the season, you're going to get next season as well, we're going to back you. We don't know. But to come out every game and basically call out the owners of the club saying, well, the players aren't good enough, we need to get players in. And I think this is part of the reason why I dislike the transfer window and the season overlapping. I don't like it. I think the transfer window should close before the season kicks off, because Parker's then in this position where his side are getting a hiding. And it gives him a bit of an excuse, saying, well, I don't have the players I want, so this is going to happen. Can we go buy players, please? Whereas if the window's shut, you can't say this. But he spoke out about the club policy, if you like, and in the end, it was a case of, so you're going to have to go, because we're not going to be spending big money. We're not going to be bringing in more and more players. We can't do it. Look at our stadium. We don't have the finances that other clubs do to do that. So you're going to have to make do what you got, essentially. You're going to have to bring in younger players, less experienced players. You're going to have to try and get a couple of bargain basements in, like Ryan Fredericks, where actually he comes in with a bit of experience, some Premier League experience there as well. And I don't think Parker wanted that. I think Parker wanted to get the checkbook out and kept giving it all that in the interviews. So I can understand why the owners said, right, that's enough now. We've had enough of this. Off you go. And you seem more sort of determined to showcase his cardigan than work with the team he had. He did. Did you see him on that day? Remember that hottest period in the week in England in like history or whatever, that weekend where there was like high 20 degree, low 30 degrees or whatever. Parker was there on the touchline with his cardigan on. He kept wearing it every single week. It was a fancy one. I don't know the make of it. But
no.
It looked like he was
lovely
roasting. Cardigan.
It was a let me two things. Number one, it was a very, very nice piece of knitwear. So firstly, put your opinion in check on that one. Secondly, when that wind comes in across the bay from Christchurch and it basically hits Bournemouth, it can get what I would call deceptively chilly. There have been times I've been in Bournemouth and I've been walking down the beach in my Speedos, and the winds, it swirls around in the bay. It goes all the way around from Studland down to Christchurch, and the winds come in. And I thought, do you know what I need now? I need a nice cardigan on. So I think you've been a bit harsh there.
Anyway, that's my thoughts on them. Anyway, as for O'Neill getting the job, I think they should just leave it as it is and give them 1 or 2 more games. But I think they need to be decisive. I think when it's working, it's fine just leaving him in limbo. Just leave him there. Don't give him a job. Don't not give him the job. Just leave him. It's working. But as soon as it stops working, I think you have to get decisive. Wolves have been, whether you agree with it or not, they've been decisive, saying, right, that's our caretaker manager until 2023, until the World he's here sure. Until after the World Cup. Well, we've tried a couple of people. They don't want to come, so we're going to leave him in charge. Right. And Bournemouth could do is doing that, saying, this is the guy. You've got it until the World Cup, and we'll reevaluate when that. And I think the World Cup is the perfect opportunity, I think, for clubs like Wolves and Bournemouth to reevaluate and go after a different manager, because then they've got like a mini pre-season there when they come in. Whereas if they come in now, it's game after game after game. It's very difficult to get to grips with it. And I think we're going to see that a little bit with Aston Villa now that Steven Gerrard's been sacked. So if I was Bournemouth, I think I'd leave him in charge to the World Cup and make it publicly known. Back your man. Say, this is the guy. All you lot in the squad there, get behind him because he's here until the World Cup minimum. You need to impress this guy. Gonzo, at the minute, they're 12th in the league, 13 points after 11 games. Just quickly, do you think they'll stay up?
No.
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because they've had a good start, but...
Yeah, I don't. I just think the force and the weight of everything is against them. That being said, they have new ownership. Now, as I understand the new owner, I think he only has one US franchise, one US sports franchise. Apparently, he's a very, very good owner. This much I have heard about him. Apparently, he's spend up. I'm not sure. Not sure how much of it is investment and how much of it is enjoying himself. He just sort of wants to enjoy himself now, basically. If that's the case, he could do worse than get himself a nice pair of Speedos, a nice cardigan, and give Gary O'Neill 50 million to spend. And just, so if they got some money to spend, they can do it. At the moment, with that squad, I do wonder how long Solanke can stay scoring goals for the manager uplift. I just think it's tough, particularly, you look at Aston Villa. You mentioned Aston Villa. They have massive amount of money. They're going to... Any news on who they're going to get in as manager? I haven't heard, but they're going to...
Pochettino's their main man. Tuchel said no to them, though. I don't think they even asked Tuchel if they wanted the job. Tuchel said no before they even approached him. He said, "Don't bother coming over here. No thanks."
No, absolutely. It's going to be tough, particularly if those other clubs start to perform more in keeping with the squad they've got. Villa have got a good squad, some good players. Wolves have got some good players. So I think it's going to be difficult for them.
I'm going to say no as well. I hope they do, actually. I quite like seeing the underdog doing it. And they've done a lot better than I thought they would, in all honesty. At the start of the season under Parker, I thought this is the Bournemouth I expected. Not the 9-0. Didn't expect them to be that bad. But them not picking up too much points, so on and so forth. But while they've done well so far, I do look at their squad and I do just worry it's just not quite good enough. And you look at the teams down the bottom currently, and even Nottingham Forest, well, I think they look in trouble. Come January, they will spend money. They've got a new recruitment team. They've sacked the old recruitment team. They've got a new recruitment team in. I can almost guarantee they're going to be looking at who to get rid of in January and who they're going to bring in. So they're going to. It doesn't necessarily yield results. But I think it's better to go into the January transfer with money than without it. So we'll see. And I'm going to say no.
I love the fact that they signed 19 players and changed their recruitment team.
And the manager, no, it's not you. We're going to give you a new deal. But the people that brought those players in, out. Away you go. Piss off. Do one.
What could possibly go wrong?
This video is sponsored by the Spitch Fantasy Football app, and once again, I'm getting involved in the paid version this weekend. It costs £1.70 to get involved in the Classic Premier League game. There's a greater game as well if you back yourself that much. I'm not that brave, and I'm not that good at Fantasy League either. So I'm paying for the £1.70, top prize of £50. And if I do win it, I'm going to give it to somebody who watches our videos. You have to tune into the opposition preview, which will be up tomorrow, to find out how to enter. But any winnings I get, £20 or greater, I'll give it to one of the subscribers. But Gonzo, would you like to see my team?
I would. If it's £19, will you give it to me?
No, it's I'll enter the big prize, the big game the following week. I'll go massive.
I'd love to see your team.
Here's my team for this weekend. I've got Ederson in goal. At the back, I've got Creswell, Trippier, and Bueno. His dad, Kinder's very proud of his.
He certainly is. Yes.
My midfield four, I've got Addison, Maddison, Mount, and De Bruyne. And my front three, I've gone Haaland, Mitrovic, and Salah. I've gone big guns, Gonzo.
Yeah, well, you have, apart from Bueno, who's very diminutive and little. But clearly, you've seen a good cross for the Premier League Player of the Year in waiting, Adama Traore, who headed the ball home. It's a really good team, but there's somebody called Harrison who I've never heard of before.
Plays for Leeds, attacking.
Exactly, that's why I haven't heard of him before.
Got him from Salisbury. He looks all right. I quite like him. And Leeds are playing Fulham this weekend, so it could be goals at that game.
I'm watching me, yeah.
And I didn't know if they'd be playing Rodrigo or Bamford up front, so I've gone with a Leeds midfielder, a Leeds goal scoring midfielder. If you want to get involved, you can download the Spitch Fantasy Football app in the link in the description of this video. It's free to download, it's free to sign up, there's free to play games as well. Or if, like myself, you want to put your money where your mouth is, £1.70 for the classic Premier League game this weekend. Top prize, £50. Gonzo, players you admire from Bournemouth, please.
I haven't watched them. To be fair, I'm sorry I say that. I say I'm really fond of the club. I haven't watched them. I know only because obviously we did the on Patreon. We had a little chat with Harry Redknapp, didn't we, on our Patreon channel? We would discuss Zamora on there, who I understand to be a good player. And once we discussed him, I went and is that his name? Have I got it right?
Yeah, it is, but he's been dropped for the last couple of games.
Okay, but I went and watched.
I had high hopes for.
Yeah, I went and watched these clips only because you'd mentioned him. Harry spoke about him, so I went and watched his clips. Obviously, they've got a Dembele, which gives you a chance, and everyone should have at least one Dembele. So I think that's really good. They've got Philip Billing, who's the size of Tyson Fury, which I think is also useful. Lewis Cook used to be a good player. I don't know if he's still a good player, but I used to like him. Thought he was really good actually. I know Solanke's scoring some goals, but I can't claim to know anything about him at all, Gio. So I will defer to you on this.
Yeah, look, it's pleasing to see. This is the thing. There's a lot of romantic stories about the Bournemouth players. When you look at them, a lot of them is sort of, are they good enough for the Premier League or are they not? And I think that's the problem to some extent. Ryan Fredericks in there, Solanke in there, Philip Billing, Jefferson Lerma as well, Adam Smith. Are they good enough for the Premier League? We don't really know. But if they are, it's for like a bottom half team. I think it's pleasing to see Lewis Cook performing really well, though, because I thought he was class before he got that horrific injury. And I would have loved to have seen him at West Ham, but it's nice to see him back and looking like a neat and tidy midfielder in the Premier League. Solanke is playing quite well. Marcus Tavernier, good to see him in the Premier League, deserved a crack at it after his performances with Middlesbrough. And Ryan Christie is somebody I've always quite admired, actually, and he's done quite well for them in the last 2 or 3 games. And he's somebody that I've always thought deserved a crack at the Premier League, but not at West Ham. So I guess that says a lot about. Do you know what I mean? There's one of them. I think he could do it, but I don't want my team to buy him though, because I don't think he's that.
Yeah, it's like a bad cardigan. I'd like everybody else to wear one, but I'm not prepared to wear one myself. Yeah,
especially in high 30 degrees, Scott Parker. But anyway, shall we move on to our team?
Yes, mate.
So, bit of team news. No Lucas Paqueta for the Hammers on Monday night. David Moyes said it's serious, but Lucas Paqueta said he's out for 2 weeks. Figure that one out. We are unsure on Craig Dawson as well as Maxwell Cornet. 2.5 weeks ago, we got told he was out for Cornet. This is 2.5 weeks ago. We got told he's out for 2 weeks. He's not back yet. So hopefully Monday he shall be back. And Craig Dawson went off with a dead leg, and it seems to be the longest dead leg I've ever discovered in my life. So he may be back for the Hammers as well. For the sake of the preview, we're going to assume Cornet and Dawson are back. Gonzo. Nathan Guerd is unavailable still. However, David Moyes has confirmed he will feature prior to the World Cup. He's back in training with the boys, which is really good news.
Yeah.
So let's do the team that myself and Gonzo would like to see on Monday night. Fabianski in goal.
Yes, Fabian, fully deserved, mate. Really good.
Right, give me your defense, your numbers as well as your personnel.
Okay. Tilo Kehrer. I can't remember what number he is. What number is he?
Just carry on.
Thank you. Dawson, Zuma, Cresswell. That would be my back 4. Do you want me to go through the whole team? Are you excited?
No, I like to do it in positional order, please.
Sorry.
I actually, do you know something? I think I'd go Soufal right back. I was deliberating Kehrer because I know why you've done him. Who's the best player in possession at right back? Tilo Kehrer, right in he goes kind of thing. But I do think Bournemouth threat comes from out wide quite a bit. So, and I'm very uncertain on Kehrer defensively at right back. And I just think you'd be asking for trouble down that side if you played in there to some extent. But I do agree that he's the best player in the ball. But the reason for Soufal is because he's had this unfortunate situation or unnecessary situation, however you wish to word it, where he did that tweet, got abused, and deleted his tweet. Now, that's going to go one of 2 ways. Either we're going to see a raging Soufal that's going to come out there and put on the best performance of his life, or it's going to impact him. And he has spoken before about how abuse like that has impacted his confidence. So I'd almost put him in the team to say, Don't worry about that lot. Don't worry about the people that are criticising you, abusing you, or whatever. Get in that team and play your heart out. I put Soufal in there because he is capable. I'm the first person to criticise him, as are you. Has he been good enough this season? No, he's not. I'm not going to change my opinion because he's received abuse on Twitter, which I think is too far, by the way. That is too far. Yeah. But it doesn't mean he's played well because of that. I'm not going to change my opinion. But with the greatest respect to him, it's Bournemouth. You know, if there's a game he should play okay at, it's got to be at home to Bournemouth. And if he's not going to play well in this fixture, then we're really in trouble. So I put Soufal in the back four. But
can I just say something on that, Joe? Because I did want to say something. It's obviously not worthy of a video on its own. I think with this, it's one thing having an opinion about a player if he's played poorly or whatever. I think that's fine. But what I don't like is when you put I don't know, it's called a hyperlink or whatever, but when you attach the person's name in it, so you could say, I think Soufal's crap, he's rubbish, he did this, I want him out, but then you tag them. Link it. Pardon?
Tag them.
So as then they can see it. I think that's just rude. One of them is your opinion. One of them saying, this is my opinion on him. He played crap at right back. The other one
which you're entitled to.
Which you are entitled to. The other one is, I think he's crap. I think he's crap at right back. And do you know what? I'm going to let him know that I think he's crap. And I think that is this. I think that's odd. I think that's odd behaviour. I don't know why people do that. So I wish people could just separate the two, because it means if one of them, Soufal, can go about his business, and the other one is Soufal's phone's pinging all the time. Do you know what I mean? With people telling him he's crap, I'm sure he's got notifications switched off. But I just wanted to say that.
I think he'd get the biggest support ever on Monday night as well. I think they're being at home. I think the fans would understand, and they would, that if he does something wrong, he'd still get a bit of an applause. I remember it against Wolves, when we played Wolves a month ago, and Souček had played quite well. Then he tried a ball down the line out for a throw, and you could see Souček go, as if say, I've done it again. But the fans all clapped him and said, don't worry about it, keep going, you're playing well, keep going. I think Soufal will get a little bit of that on Monday night, actually. He'd almost get a comfort blanket from the fans there. Right, midfield, how would you like to see us line up?
Downs and Rice in the middle, please.
I agree. What's your formation?
It's like a fluids sort of one, you know, with two midfielders, one of them sitting, and Rice. Basically, we've got a sitting midfielder and an up and down midfielder.
Okay, right. But are you playing with 3 attacking midfielders, 1 striker, or are you going 4-4-2?
Yes, that one. No, not 4-4-2. Not that.
Okay, give me your 3 attacking midfielders.
Okay, so in the right-sided attacking midfield position, I've got Jared Bowen. In the attacking, the reasonable position, attacking midfield, I've got Benrahma, and on the left attacking midfield, I have got Maxwell Cornet.
And your striker?
It's Scamacca. And can I just say, my team wins, all right? If he puts out my team... I haven't
heard mine yet.
Not because I've selected. Your team might win as well. It's not about...
I thought you meant your team beats my team.
No.
Bloody hell, at least let me beat my out first.
That's what I do when I play poker. I don't need to see your hands. Don't even bother playing a card. Do you know what I mean? Do you want to go Monopoly? Yes, but you don't need to play. I'll just play on my own.
I thought my team could be this... I thought my team could be the same as yours, bar Soufal. You just said, you stop all that abuse, and now you're basically saying my team's better than yours because you've got Soufal. I thought that's what you were saying.
The intent of my team wins the game in terms of West Ham v Bournemouth, because there's enough attacking midfielders, there's enough quality, there's enough attacking players, and there's the right intent rather than whatever square pegs in round holes, just all being wrong. I think if he goes with that level of intent, we cause them too many problems. We're too good defensively, and we just win the game. You don't even have to overthink this one.
I've gone 4-4-2. Bowen on the right, Benrahma on the left, and Antonio partnering Scamacca up front. We need to win this game. We need, and the team sheet is going to really get fans' hopes up or down. If the team sheet comes down for Niles and Souček, and it feels like players are in there because of what they contribute defensively, you're going to go, flipping hell. We need, Bournemouth will play, it depends, because like I said, they played wing backs on Wednesday. I think he might switch back to his sort of variation of 4-4-2, where one's a bit more of a Billings, more of a second striker than a out-and-out striker. And that will play into our hands a little bit. That will allow us to go toe-to-toe with them and have Antonio and Scamacca. And I thought they looked all right together at Anfield, them two. And Antonio was dropping back and leaving Scamacca as almost the lone striker. And Antonio was dropping back 10 yards. that could cause a lot of problems to teams that aren't switched on enough. Having Antonio pick the ball up and turn and run, it's a dangerous thing, and he's very difficult to mark and to defend against when he gets into, as we call it, beast mode, if you like. But it also allows Scamacca to drop 10 yards. We've seen Scamacca's creativity. We've seen him drop deep and have awareness of people around him. And that allows Scamacca to go in behind. That allows Antonio to be the striker that goes in behind, knowing that he's got somebody that can actually find him on occasions. And I just think it's important that we win this game. And also, I think there's a little bit of pressure on winning it comfortably to some extent. Now, it doesn't have to be a hiding in terms of the scoreline, but comfortably, as in come away 2-0 win. We deserve that. Start to finish, better than Bournemouth in all areas of the pitch, comfortable win. And I think basically you're going to agree what I'm saying here, which is you can't play players because of what they do defensively for this fixture.
I'll tell you what, Gio, you can't play players because of what they do defensively in this fixture.
Do you agree or disagree with the said statement, or is it reasonable?
No, it's very, very reasonable. I wouldn't pull the wool over your eyes on this one, Gio. I think it's important we have these attacking players that sort of knit the team together, you know?
Are you confident?
Very confident. Yeah, I am confident.
Wait, hang on a minute. You need to take into consideration, because obviously the team we do is the team we want to see, but then when we say confident, we switch it to what we have to guess what we think Moyes is going to do and take that into consideration. But I'm not, because he's not going to play your team, is he? So are you confident, bearing in mind what you think David Moyes is
nor is he going to play your team, no. And I'll be happy with your team as well. Yeah, I think I'm still confident. I'm still confident. I think even David Moyes knows that he hasn't got loads of these guys. He can't. This season can't continue to go. Basically, we can't go for a cycle that we had at the start of the season. So we can't go for a season where we have a bad run of games and we have a good run of 4 games and we have a bad run of games and a good run. That's just not going to... I'm sorry, that doesn't cut it. When you are given the third largest budget in I say European, world football, the third largest budget in world football, which is what he's had this season, no, because there are people doing far better that have spent far less. So he's not going to get away with that. You have to stop. You've spent loads of money. You have to now stop picking players and defending against everyone. And I think he will, because I think he knows that. And I think his ultimate vision is for him to play a Gerds who is going to start being loves a creative defender, not so much a creative attacker. So he likes his defenders to attack and his attackers to defend. But anyway, once he's done that, he's got this. I feel he's got this vision. I think Cornet's part of it. I think Agurd's part of it. And I think the final product that you'll see following his spending spree this season will have those 2 players in it. I think once those 2 get in it, I think we get on the front foot a little bit more. But he has players in the squad. He's running out of reasons not to play Benrahma. He doesn't have any. He has to play Benrahma in this because he had more good games than bad. He looked like the brightest player. He finished the game as the brightest player on the pitch against Liverpool. Paqueta's out. There's actually no reason that you can't. There's no way you can get away with that. Maybe he'll try and shoehorn Fornals in. If he does, and I don't think it's fair on Fornals, because I think, then Fornals starts to get moans and groans, and maybe not in the stadium itself, but then I don't think Moyes helps these players. I don't think Moyes helps Soufal. I don't think he helps Fornals. I think David Moyes might come out and say, "Oh, it's disgusted the treatment they get on social media," and I've already said what I think about that. But I don't think he helps them by playing them in games that they're not suited for, and in where we can't see the best out of them. So but I am confident.
Do you think Scott Parker's got the 3rd largest budget in the world for cardigans?
I don't know. I don't know if it was a Primark one. I don't know if it
was... I seen it going around how much it costs in the make of it. I can't remember. It was obviously a designer one that cost
a designer cardigan.
£20. Yeah, it was a designer. That's why he wore it.
Someone sits down and designs cardigans.
It was a designer. It was a designer cardigan.
Anyway. Yes. Granny's knit cardigans. If anyone designed them, anyone.
Anyway, I wouldn't be against seeing Fornals, providing he's in that number 10 role, by the way.
Sure.
If Cornet's unavailable and he goes with Bourne on the right, Benrahma on the left, and Fornals in the middle, I get it. I'm okay with that.
Sure.
Arguably, that's Fornals' best position. The main man for that position, and Paqueta's out injured, so Fornals goes in. That's fine. That is what Fornals' role should be, which is almost back up to Paqueta at this point, and until he performs better than him. I'm okay with that. It's just sticking him out on the left-hand side and sacrificing the attacker to play him. This is the problem. The problem isn't with Fornals per se, although it is a little bit. It's with utilising Fornals and who else doesn't utilise. The sacrifice, if you like, of the team in order to get Fornals in is the problem here.
Sacrifice of attacking position. That's what it is.
I'm confident as well, Gonzo, because I had my moan yesterday about Moyes' tactics. However, the same tactics that he deploys works usually against sides like Bournemouth, which is we'll keep it tight. You're not good enough to break us down, so we're going to keep it tight for a bit. Then we're going to attack you, and we've got some good players when it comes to that aspect. And we've done damn well in the last 2 seasons in terms of points tally, and we've done it by usually winning our bread and butter games, which is Monday night against Bournemouth at home against a promoted side in the Premier League. It's a must win every single season. It doesn't matter if you want to finish 17th and avoid relegation because you're crap, or if you want to get into European football. Home against a promoted side is a must win every single season. So there's pressure on us, because if we don't win this one, suddenly we're going back down that table with a trip to Old Trafford coming up as well. It's not ideal, but we do win this one. We leapfrog Bournemouth. I know it's nothing to write home about per se, but suddenly, I don't know, we might make into the top half of the table at the end of the fixtures and stuff. We just keep moving in the right direction a little bit. We've hit a bump in the road, or you could say 2 with the Southampton result and the Liverpool result. It's important we get back to winning ways on Monday. Otherwise, it's just not going to be a fun environment. I've enjoyed seeing us win. I've enjoyed winning 4 games out of 4. I want to get back to that, and it needs to start on Monday night. However, I'm relatively confident. Can I get any final words from yourself, please, as well as your all-important score prediction?
Well, mate, nothing says, you said bread and butter, nothing says bread and butter like a Monday night game against Bournemouth. That being said, that slice of bread and butter, if you buy it at the London Stadium, will probably cost you a tenner. I think it's important. I think Dawson coming back is important, particularly his aerial prowess in particular, I think is important in both boxes. In fact, you may say that Bournemouth have lost their cardigan, but we have to have our jumper.
Oh, dear God. Can I get your score prediction, please?
I want to carry on saying more stuff. No, my score prediction would be 2-0 to West Ham.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 2-0 West Ham as well, actually. At the end of the day, to keep it really simple, if we turn up and we play 10 out of 10 and the tactics are right, we win the game. We have better players than Bournemouth. There's no disputing that. If you were to take Bournemouth's best 11 and say, okay, let's do a combined 11, let's do a hybrid 11, who gets into the West Ham team?
Dembele.
Yeah, okay. You might make an argument for 1 or 2, but that's it maximum. I think even a Bournemouth fan would be hard pressed to make an argument as to who gets into the West Ham team. There's no excuses not to win on Monday. There's plenty time between the last game and this game. Bournemouth played at the same time as we did on Wednesday night, so it's not like they've had an extra day. And even if they did, I don't care. 5 days is adequate to get ready for your next fixture. We've got the Europa League coming up as well. I don't care. We're in a very strong position for that we don't have to worry about the Conference League group stage games. It's all about getting points on the Premier League now. We've done 95% of what we need to do in the European football. We need a point in our last 2 games. We will get that, heavily rotating our team as well. We need to get points on the board now, and it starts Monday night. Otherwise, well, Moyes better do something, get a cardigan or something to distract me from the results. But anyway, we'll leave it there.
Absolutely. A lot of cardigan talk. You can do a cardigan chat.
Anyway, if you enjoy the cardigan chat, please do drop a like on it, subscribe to Damage Chat. We'll be back on Monday night with our live build-up show and watch along pending a late fitness test for Charlie. Hopefully Charlie and Craig Dawson make it on Monday night. We'll catch you then.